Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jaycast podcast. I am your host, Jay.
And Jay.
And we have a pretty good show for you guys today. Quite a lot of stuff to talk about. Jay, how was your week, man?
My week was good, man. Just, very busy with real estate stuff and just trying to also study for a couple of IT certs.
Yeah, that's good. As you guys can see, we've been pretty busy this week, but we're also trying to give you content outside of our podcast. As you can see, like the parking lot videos where I discuss a couple of things like the UFO and the RFK Jr. stuff. So as we say, we keep trying to give you guys some content, some good content, stuff that you like. Speaking of which, man, I just bought some new running shoes. As you guys know, I'm an avid runner now. I can say that. I bought some new running shoes, dude, and they're called the Nike Vaporfly 2, and they feel like plastic, bro.
Are they like knitted or?
They're knitted. They're like a towel with foam. They feel like straight plastic, and they're kind of expensive for like plastic shoes.
Damn, bro.
But I guess it makes sense. Like they're meant for running, so they're not meant for nothing else. I don't know. I'm gonna try them tomorrow. I heard that there was some controversies in some races with those shoes. Because people were actually like it was almost like a performance enhancer. I don't know if they were lying or not, but we're gonna find out tomorrow. I'm gonna try to be my best time.
Does it have like a really thick sole on the bottom or?
Yeah.
Foamy?
It's like thick and foamy. It's like it's like styrofoam.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has like a tail in the back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like it looks like a boat, you know how the bottom of a boat is like a tail
Yeah.
type of thing.
Kind of like pointy.
Yeah, pointy in the back, like in the back of like in the back of the shoes.
Damn.
So let's see. I don't know why they would do that, but I guess they engineered it that way for some reason.
Probably, man.
Yeah, my knee kind of hurts a lot when I run now, so I'm trying to get more comfortable shoes and stuff like that. Speaking of being comfortable, what's going on? What's going on with the real estate market, man? What is the state of real estate? What's your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts were they've changed because of the way the market's going, but my thoughts were that by now the interest rates would have like cooled down, but it seems like that's not the point. The good thing is that Powell actually mentioned last week that the Federal Reserve interest rates actually are, I think at last time I checked, like 4 point something.
Now, for those before you go on really quickly,
Yeah.
what Jay is saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, even though I'm trying to tell you what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's 4%. That's what that is what the federal bank charges for interest to loan to the other banks.
Yeah.
So when somebody says interest rates are at 4%, that's Federal Reserve talk. But actual banks will loan you out that money that they got loaned at 6.57%.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Yep, that's correct. So it seems like right now what needs to happen is that there needs to be more supply of housing. That's the other thing. There's not that much supply out there, so
do you think? So what do you?
which
so
is
you
keeping
saying?
the prices high.
So you're saying that it's good that he didn't raise the interest rates, or do you say, or what do you mean?
I think there needs to be a combination of supply. The demand's there. There's people out there looking for actual rental apartments, and they're looking for houses to buy. So I think there needs to be more of a supply of housing and also a lowering of interest rates, and then it might help out. I think the economy overall.
I guess
for
in
sure.
that order, you more supply then lowering the interest rates.
Yeah.
Or would you say, because if I was Powell, or if I was like dictator of the United States, which hopefully that's not ever the case, but if I was dictator of the United States,
Yeah.
I would say make more houses, right? But keep the interest rates high, because we still have to cool off the economy, right? The interest rates
Yeah.
are not just for the houses. Or am I speaking incorrectly here?
The whole supply thing, it's the reason there's not that much supply is because of inflation. So inflation kind of messed up everything in regards to supplies, how much they cost, and also the work labor. So what's ending up happening is, and a lot of people got laid off as well. So there's not enough. The work is out there, but there's not enough money, so to say, to pay for these jobs. So you know what I mean? Because the prices have gone up. So what's going on right now is that hopefully, I mean, like I mentioned before, things cool off, or it's gonna have to be people are just gonna have to pay higher. Like all the investors, actually developers that pay for these huge projects, they're gonna have to go on board with whatever prices the contractors are setting. You know what I mean?
Okay, because the supplies are higher.
Yeah.
I guess, and then I guess because other contractors are offering more money, whoever's whoever has hired contractors, they're probably splitting and going to other contractors that pay them
Yeah.
more. So as a result, to be
And,
competitive.
and the numbers are not making sense at this point. At this point, it's like if you're doing the whole rehab thing, it's like you're purchasing a property that does not have that much meat on it, meaning there's not that much equity on it because they're overcharging you. So once you buy this,
When you say they, who's they? The banks or
the investor, the
okay.
buyer.
Okay.
So it not only is the investor like losing out on this deal, it's like it comes to a point where you buy the property, you get it appraised right at a certain price, and you're like, crap, like I'm gonna end up losing out because now I have to fix it.
For the people listening, who appraises the homes? Is it like a special person or is it
Yeah,
the bank?
it's an appraiser.
Okay, hired
So-
by you or the bank?
No, by the bank. So it's a
Okay.
third party. And the reason behind that is because obviously the bank's giving you the money, so they want to make sure that the investment that they're giving you the money for is worth something. You know what I mean?
Okay, understood.
So, yeah, they contract a third party. The appraiser is giving you this set number, and the bank, what they want to make sure is that they're going to get their return on investment, and can this guy afford to be able to pay back the loan.
Seems like a lot of hoops, right?
So,
okay.
but the investor has to make sure that it depends. If it's a property he's going to live in, then it's different. But if it's a property that he's trying to make money off of or investment property, then he has to make sure that he has enough equity in that property where he can get his return on investment in rents, or not even in rents if he wants to sell a property.
Okay. So going back to the whole interest rate supply and demand thing, so for some of you guys who might not know what's going on, which might be only a few of you because everybody was talking about this, back in 2020, 2021, housing exploded. The prices of homes completely went up, like just astronomical prices. There was a lot of buyers, but not enough homes. The interest rates was only 3%. Average interest rates was like 3.5%.
Yeah.
Now the home prices are still astronomically high, but the interest rates are like 6.5 to 7%. Meaning, whatever, if you would have gotten a house at 300K, I'm just throwing random numbers out here. If you would have gotten a house at 300K with 3% interest, and you were paying, let's say, 1,600, 1,700 for a house, now with the interest rates the way they are, you might be paying close to 2,500, 2,500. And so the issue is that I guess was this Jerome Powell? He's trying to raise the interest rates, hoping to cool off the market, and by extension, the housing market as well, and that will lower the prices of homes. But now that caused another problem because now the homeowners who were selling their houses, they probably don't even want to sell their houses anymore either because they had secured a home loan at 3%. What you're gonna do? You're gonna sell that now? You're gonna sell that and then secure a home loan at 7% when you had one at 3%? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there was already short supply. Now there's even going to be more short supply because the people who are willing to add supply to the market are no longer going to do that anymore because of the interest rate hikes.
Yeah, so the only way they could fix this issue is to lower the interest rates, which would attract people to, buy, or they're gonna have to like up their game in building houses, man.
I wouldn't lower the interest rates right now. I would, and I say this respectfully. I understand that people are affected by this, so obviously I don't mean people to get hurt. But if I was Jerome Powell and I was responsible, I would keep the interest rates high. I would probably raise them up even a little bit more. It has to cause a little bit of pain to fix this, but something like this happened in the 80s, and some guy raised the interest rates to like 15%.
Yeah.
The head of the Fed, I think he raised the interest rates at 15% to kind of like curb inflation.
Yeah.
So I would keep
that actually makes people want to put their money in the banks as well because
yeah, because you have higher interest rates now.
Yeah.
But I would keep the interest rates higher, and I would try to start working with Congress or whoever, because Jerome Powell, he's not in it for homes. He's that's not his business. His business is just to increase interest rates and do all that stuff. But I will also try to work hand in hand with the government to see what we can do about zoning laws, to see what we can do about
that's another thing
see what we can do about building. Look, the interest rates are going to keep high, but we're going to add more supply. We're going to build more homes. See what happens.
That's a really big thing. Yeah. So especially like in cities like San Francisco, it's like there's a lot of homes that are there, but they're zoned to only, I think, have like 2 stories. So it kind of limits the amount of people that could live in a certain area.
Now,
So yeah.
for people like, do you know what zoning laws are?
Yeah.
Because my understanding of zoning laws, like the government says you can't build a specific house in a specific area.
So
Kinda
every municipality has their zoning laws. So it basically has set rules of what kind of property you could build. because there's different types of property, right? There's residential, there's commercial,
Commercial.
there's industrial.
Okay.
So there's different types of property, and it depends on the zone. It depends on the area, and if the municipality allows certain uh, properties to be built in certain zones, then then you're fine. But of course, it's pretty hard to like turn and bend the rules because it's like laws have been set in place, and also you have to look at the way the community has been built. You don't want to build an industrial complex in the middle of a residential area. You know
Makes
what I mean?
sense. Makes sense.
So it's like they have to like go back in their blueprints of the city and look and have some sort of compromise between the people that are already living there and the investors that want to come in and build something.
Now, do you think that there should be some discussion of with all this remote work, all the remote work stuff that's happening? Do you think there should be some kind of discussion of like businesses letting go of these buildings and just converting them into like rental properties?
Yeah,
What do you
so
think?
I'm telling you the truth, man. What's gonna end up happening, from what I've seen, a lot of my friends that work at tech companies or just the news in itself, they're bringing back workers to the commercial buildings, man.
Oh, they're bringing them back.
Yeah, they're
in?
bringing them back, man.
Yikes.
This whole like work from home, only work from home model is not gonna exist moving forward. I think there's definitely be a hybrid, right? But the whole like if you see the big tech companies, if they're doing that, the small private companies that
Yeah.
barely have money, you know what I mean? It's
Tech companies are the trailblazers
Yeah,
when it
pretty
comes
much.
from working from home, and they were the ones who were paying people to, they're like, hey, come work with us. We're gonna pay a lot of money, and you get to work from home.
Yeah.
But now, the lucrative part of the lucrative deal was working from home. If they're not offering that anymore, it gives the smaller companies a chance to compete for workers. Now is that what you're kind of? Because if anybody, what do you think?
yeah, that's true. But at the same time, it's like you have to look at the especially if the small company doesn't have any like buildings or a lot of office space. But like these large corporations have like they've invested so much on expanding and on office space where it's like they are encouraging and setting rules in place and policies where it's like, hey guys, you're gonna lose your job if you don't come back to the office because they're losing more money paying those leases than actually paying their employees. So it comes to that point where it's like we have an empty space.
Yeah, which kind of sucks too because I think the whole working from home thing, from what I've been told, it changed people's lives for the better.
I think so, but there's so many studies out there that
I'm talking about lives. I'm not talking about productivity because now the
Yeah,
studies
yeah,
are coming out.
productivity,
Studies are coming out that
yeah.
productivity might not be as high as
yeah.
people would have thought. But like people, let's say for example, like, oh, you don't have to pay for daycare. You don't have to drive.
Yeah,
Like you wake
commute
up
time.
you don't have to drive to the office. You don't have to pay for daycare. You don't have to eat out. You're saving so much money on gas, wear and tear on your car. I bought my car like almost 6 years ago, bro. And it's not even 100,000 miles.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so people are out here like, and they get to spend more time with their kids. They get to do more chores, like around the house. They don't have to have a day.
Hey,
like
don't say that, man. If you're working, you're not allowed to do chores around the house.
No, I'm saying what they're saying. That's not what
Yeah.
I don't even work remote. I'm just saying like,
Yeah.
freaking. I'm just saying my car had 100,000 miles because I can walk to my job if I had to.
Yeah.
But and walking is good for you. And as you guys know, I'm an avid runner. I'm gonna start. That's gonna be my shtick now. Like as you guys know, I'm an avid runner. But yeah, man, people are saying that they've had more productive lives, and because they don't have to wait until like Saturday or Sunday to clean the house, they're doing it little by little as they go, and things stay clean. They feel like they have more.
So like a better quality of life.
More freedom. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then some people, from what they're saying, like normally they would leave work at 5, but they stay on front of the computer till like 6:30, 7 maybe, because they're still working on stuff and they don't have to like, oh, I'm out of here.
Yeah, commute.
There's no commute.
Yeah.
And as an avid runner, I feel like no, I'm kidding. But yeah, man, got a little sidetracked there. But yeah, I hope they do something with this whole housing thing, because if not, it's gonna just keep getting worse, and then you're gonna have. And people keep saying, I don't know how true this is. I mean, I'm sure it's true, but I don't know how to what extent that these hedge funds keep buying properties.
Oh yeah,
and
so
making infinite renters, and then
yeah, when it comes to hedge funds, they sometimes get sweet deals, especially when they buy in bulk. So
they're buying whole neighborhoods, right?
Yeah,
Like whole
yeah.
blocks.
Especially like BlackRock, they're the biggest one out there. Like they're just buying all. And the funny thing is that they're targeting. I guess this is what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is that they're trying to not allow the future of America to be home buyers. They want everyone to be renters. So they're buying the majority of the single family homes. If you look at J.P. Morgan, they've been buying up all the single family homes. So has BlackRock. So it's gonna get to a point where it's like you're gonna have to pay rent.
You're
And
listening to the Jaycast podcast. Like, share, subscribe. And
please,
these are our thoughts. We're not accusing anybody of anything. These are just our thoughts.
yeah, but it's happening. So they're gonna make it so hard, and actually not. They're going to. They are making it hard for people to actually buy homes, and so it's getting to the point where people are stuck, right, in the rat race. And what they're doing is that they're paying rent. And so think about it this way. So they're paying rent to the banks, right? So the banks are winning both sides. They're actually also decreasing a pathway to build wealth. So one of the main pathways that people build wealth in America.
Yes. So
They're trying to keep us poor, man.
to put my tinfoil hat on, when you own a home, let's say, that gives you a chance. I'm not saying that it's a certain thing, but that gives you a chance. That's like a pathway, slightly to a bit of financial freedom. Because once you own your home, you have something like, oh, once I pay this off, I don't have to put up with like most jobs anymore for the most part. Once you pay off your home, let's say your mortgage goes, and I don't know where you guys live, but let's say, and I don't know if I'm being conservative or liberal with this, but let's say our mortgage is $1,500, right? And then our property taxes are like $400. Well, once you pay once you pay your mortgage off, you no longer have to pay $1,100 anymore. You only have to pay $400 a month plus living expenses and things like that. That's $400 a month in taxes. That's what comes out to be like $4,800 a year.
Yeah.
You can get like a regular job at like a warehouse and pay that off. You don't have to put up with nobody anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they're taking that away from you because now you have to pay rent forever. Forever. It's eating into your income. It's eating into your chance of financial freedom. I do think it's a big, like a huge conspiracy to do that. And you're paying the banks forever. So it's not enough that you're paying the banks through the government subsidizing them and the government subsidizing their losses whenever they make bad investments. You're also paying for them to live in a house that you were supposed to own. And as usual, the government's sitting on their hands and just straight up not knowing what to do and not taking action.
Yeah. The banks are the winners in this case because like you mentioned, they're making money off, subsidized housing.
Well, let's take that back. Really quick, their losses are being subsidized.
Yeah.
And they're making money, doing their whole finance thing.
Yeah.
And like you said, the price of the homes are subsidized because they're buying it in bulk or reduced.
Well, usually it's a reduced. So if you're a private I was gonna say employee, but it doesn't make sense. If you're a private
property owner,
no. If you're a private customer for a bank, you get perks.
Right.
Like you have your own personal
financer.
What do you call him? Like, I guess kind of like a hedge fund manager in a way, because he's managing your money.
Okay.
And not only that, like, guys, like I'm giving you guys like jewels right now, because once you get a certain amount of money, like if you have like I think for J.P. Morgan, obviously it's like over $250K or $500K, you become a private customer for them. And so what they do is that you have access to them kind of like 24 hours. Like if you have to have a huge transaction and stuff, like they'll prepare the money for you and they'll like literally open the bank off hours just to cater to your needs.
Now, as much as we like to act like this is us, we're not that rich. This is just all you've been told. So.
Yeah. We just we read books.
Yeah. We actually know some guys who are like in their 60s who have done really well for themselves.
Yeah.
And they tell us this info. So we had to actually look for it. You guys are getting it without even looking.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm trying to get to is the fact that the way the things are going, the banks are going to be benefiting. Why? Because not only are they going to make money off renters, they're also going to make money off people that are trying to invest and buy properties, because they're raising their interest rates at such a high point where it's like they know that at the end of they know that after the loan is paid off, they paid off an investment that wasn't worth for the investor, but it was worth for them. You know what I mean? It was worth for the bank.
Right, because the bank loans you, let's say, $200K to buy a house.
Yeah, and they might know that, okay, the property's worth $200K at this point in the market, but realistically, if it wasn't for inflation, that property would probably be worth $150. Well, who cares? We'll give you the money because you could afford it to pay us back, and we make money on top of that.
And 30 years from now, you would have paid $450K.
Yeah, so it's like, go ahead.
Yeah,
It's
man.
crazy,
Yeah,
man.
it
Crazy
sucks.
times.
And whoever can get a property, whether it's a single family home at this point or a condo or two, like just get it, get something, because it doesn't seem for whatever reason it doesn't seem like it's gonna slow down.
Yeah.
If raising the interest rates more than double the interest rates hasn't slowed this down, it doesn't seem like it's gonna slow down anytime soon. And nobody seems to be in a rush to like build houses.
Yeah.
Congress is not even talking about this. This should be like front line. Like, hey, look, America's turning into a nation of renters. Can we do something about it? It won't be front line because they're all in bed together.
Yeah.
Them and the banks. It sucks.
So I have a question for you, Jay. When is the best time to buy real estate?
I don't know. I'm not a real estate mogul.
I would say now. Always. I think the answer would be always now, because regardless of where the market is, there's always deals out there, and as long as the deal makes sense, you should go for it.
Now, when you
And-
say makes sense from a financial monthly standpoint. Or
Yeah,
like,
yeah. If you could afford it, and if you know that, it's like they say, it's not about. I'm gonna butcher this, man. It's not about how long. No, it's about how long you're in the market. Right?
Oh no. Time in the market beats timing the market.
There you go.
Yeah, I forgot who said it, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's the same thing when it comes to a house. Like sometimes it comes to a point where you're like, crap. You know what? Bought this property. It's overpriced, but I actually have equity. I actually have an asset, right?
Right.
And what ends up happening with time is that eventually that property is going to, increase in value, and it's going to increase to the point where you're like, okay, you know what? It's at a price point now where it's higher than the price point I actually bought it on. I'm actually winning finally, but it takes time.
Right. And remember, guys, you notice one thing: money depreciates. Most assets do not.
Yes.
So even if you bought a house and you're not too happy with the purchase or you think it's not worth what you bought it for, it's still an asset. It's still something that the government can control and be like, oh, houses are worth this much now, or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? It's just you have an asset. And one thing we want to tell you guys about how you look at money. Most people look at money like this. When they buy an asset, what they're doing is they're converting money into the asset. You guys follow what I'm saying? So basically, if you have an example, if you have 300K, right, sitting in the bank, well, you're like, well, that money's not doing anything for me. I can't use it. Let me convert it into something useful. And you take that 300K and you buy, let's say, stocks, or you buy houses, or you buy gold, or whatever the case is. You just converted your 300K to assets that actually go up in value in time. They've always gone up. I can't think of any asset.
Bro, I swear, I think me and you, like, we have the same brain. I was thinking the same thing. I was literally going to mention how whenever you see a dollar, try to convert it into something that has value.
Yeah.
Or that brings you back value.
Exactly.
And that could be a vacation, man. As long as you're putting yourself in place as well.
I wouldn't say a vacation, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let's just say you're going on vacation, but as you're going on vacation with a purpose, right? You're going to a place where it's like you have a higher chance of networking with people that might have the same,
Okay, that's like when you join country clubs.
Yeah,
you're spending money with a purpose to network. Okay, I
yeah.
see.
So try to use money as well to educate and invest on yourself, and also to buy assets, but also to place yourself in a place where you're going to be with people or surrounded by people that are at a point in their life where you want to be.
And here's another thing we'll say about when it comes to money. This is not financial advice. This is not financial
Someone
advice.
out there is gonna be like, "Yo, but you told me to do this."
Most people that I know that have money, right? Like, I was gonna say his name, but they don't really keep that much money in their bank outside of emergency purposes. And if they do keep money in the bank, it's because they're ready to make a big purchase. But for the most part, they have assets, they have homes, they have stocks, they have, gold, all that stuff where they're like, oh, this depreciates and I can sell it or I can do whatever with it. And I bought this for $20, but because the price of everything went up, the price of assets also go up. That's what nobody talks about. The price of assets also go up. So if you bought something for $20 and inflation went up and everything's more expensive now, well, guess what? The asset that you just bought, that also went up. A perfect example, cars are not assets, by the way, but that's a perfect example where people bought cars, let's say, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and they bought it for, let's say, 15 grand. Some of these cars are going for like 17, 18 grand used still. Yeah. That's an example of you having an asset, and when inflation goes up, everything else goes up along with it.
Yeah. So I guess we want our audience to kind of like, it's all about mindset, I would say. Whenever you do make money, of course you have to cover, your expenses and things like that. But after you do that, just look at money as something that you want to get rid of. Of course, you have to have like 6 months
Convert.
of
Yeah.
6 months of savings, just in case something happens to you. But whenever you see money, don't think of it as something that has value. Think of it as something that you want to convert to something that has value and right away too.
Right. And when we say value, we mean, for example, when you break it down, it's just a piece. Money's a piece of paper.
Yeah. Some people don't look at it that way. That's the problem.
Money's just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But a house is not a piece of paper. A house is useful for something.
Yeah.
Gold, whatever, for some reason, it has value.
Yeah.
Stocks and businesses, like you're owning part of businesses, all that stuff. Money gives you access to all that stuff. And you have to convert it, and you should convert it. Well, this is not financial advice. I'm talking to you, Jay,
Yeah.
and the audience is listening. I'm talking to you, Jay. Obviously, you should convert the money after you have.
You
your
better watch out. People are going to take all their money out of the bank now and
Yeah.
start buying a whole bunch of assets.
But you should convert it after you have your 6 month savings, after you have a cushion just in case, and you have money coming in. But that's my 2 cents about how I would do it. We are not telling anybody to do this. We're not telling anybody who's listening that this is how you should do it. This is not financial advice. We're not financial advisors.
I am. I'm just kidding.
We're not financial advisors. This is just our take on certain things. Speaking of takes on certain things, man, you heard of RFK Jr. and he's gotten himself into a lot of hot water recently.
No. Tell me more.
Dude, man, for those of you guys that don't know, last month or the month before that, the book that I was reading was Atomic Habits, which is a good book, blah, blah, blah. I'm not plugging it in. They're not paying me, but, it's a good book. I recommend it to anybody. I'm audiobooking now, and it's going to be a bit of an audiobook because it's 26 hours. It's called The Real Dr. Fauci by RFK Jr.,
Wow.
where he's actually talking about how Dr. Fauci butchered the pandemic and how, as a result, because other countries look at America, and I'm giving you guys a synopsis of what I read so far. You guys feel free to check out the book, respond back and say that I was wrong on certain things that I was saying. That's no problem. I'm just from memory. Basically, how the pandemic was butchered, how they were in such a rush to get people vaccinated that they skipped the part of telling people, make sure you're healthy, go outside, walk, get exercise. If you're at high risk, protect yourself. Like, there was a whole bunch of other things that could have been done instead of locking down, canceling school, and getting vaccinated. And so he's been under a lot of hot water for questioning the vaccine for the most part.
Yeah, man. I've actually read a few articles about how people basically, I think they were trying to get 2-year-olds to get the vaccine. And the crazy thing about that is that the articles are basically showing case studies where basically getting the bug actually, is less deadly than actually getting common colds, which people usually get.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly.
So it's kind of scary how they're, they got to the point, I don't know what age. Did they get to 7? Like, how young did they get with the vaccination?
Like 14, 15, I think. I
14,
don't
15,
know.
okay. Yeah, because they were trying to push it to 2-year-olds at one point.
The thing is this, man. If you look at the numbers, it's not even a secret anymore. There was, speaking of inflation, that there was a bug, the mortalities as a result of the bug was some of those numbers were kind of padded.
Yeah.
Like if you went to the hospital and you had like a heart attack or something like that.
Or diagnosing it as that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you have that.
And you also had that. They would say that was the cause of death and not the heart attack.
Yeah, and I think that had to do with also funding, right?
I feel like I think it was like not double digits, like 5-figure funding for each person that had it.
Damn, what a scam,
in hospitals. Bro. Yeah, this is according to and guys, please feel free to fact check me. I'll read the RFK Jr. book, The Real Dr. Fauci. But what was scarier is that like Dr. Fauci supposedly was like buddies with a lot of these pharmaceutical companies, and he was getting some indirect funding and stuff like that.
Wow, backdoor deals and stuff.
Yeah, so it would behoove somebody with those backdoor deals to recommend to the United States government that people should be locked down and people should take the vaccine because it's
So unethical, man.
Yeah, it is unethical. It's 100% unethical. And what's messed up about this is that there were people who were flat out anti-vaxxers to a ridiculous degree, saying that the vaccine gave you 5G receptivity. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But there were also doctors that said, "Hey, this vaccine, I'm questioning the validity and I'm questioning the effectiveness of this vaccine." Doctors, respectable doctors, who got kind of like treated like they got marginalized, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And they were made to look like they were crazy. And the media, which was running cover for Dr. Fauci, being all smug. They were saying, "Oh, if you get the vaccine, you're protected from the bug." That wasn't true. Oh, if you get the vaccine, you don't spread it to other people. That wasn't true. It got to the point where they would just abandon that whole thing altogether. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I think in the general population there was a division as well where just normal people that didn't want to get the vaccine were looked at as crazy.
Right, and you know what it is? You would think like a healthy looking person who exercises and eats right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna automatically assume he takes his health seriously. So I'm gonna assume that even though he was questioning the vaccine, and even though you might have thought he was wrong for questioning it, you have to respect the fact that it was coming from a place of, well, this guy takes care of himself. So he's always made from what you see right here in front of you. He's always made decisions to take care of his health. It seems like he's always made decisions to take care of his health. Therefore, this decision he's not making it out of some conspiracy theory. He's just making it from
Yeah, he's just concerned.
he's just concerned and he's doing it like he's always done everything else as it relates to his health.
Yeah.
But people were too intellectually, I don't know what the word is, like, they weren't thinking. They were just like, oh, this person says it? Well, I'm going to follow what this person says. And anybody who doesn't, it was disgusting, bro.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
It was disgusting.
I think they were also using the elderly as a way to get people vaccinated. They were like, hey, what? Aren't you afraid that your grandma, your grandpa, is vulnerable and you get them sick?
And the thing is, like, yo, well, if the vaccine works the way you said it does, if they got vaccinated, then they have nothing to worry about, right?
Yeah.
And then somebody was like, well, that's not how vaccines work. Well, how do they work then? Because we were always told, you get a weak version of the virus.
We're always told a lot of things, man.
We were always told a lot of things. But one of the main things they told us is, like, you get a weak version of the virus, your body fights it off. So then when you get the real version of the virus, your body fights it off with no issues. But that didn't happen. Instead, you have some people were even hospitalized after they got the COVID shot, not because they got the COVID shot, from what I know of, but because they still caught the virus after they got vaccinated. And their response, what do you think they said? You think they said, this doesn't work? They were like, imagine if I didn't get the shot, what would have happened?
Yep.
And so, RFK Jr. is under a lot of hot water. He's even under more hot water now because he's trying to run as a DNC primary candidate. He's trying to go against Biden in DNC primaries. Now, I think that RFK Jr. might be one of the perfect candidates to start his own third party.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. They might start a third party.
He's this is an oxymoron in America, but he's political royalty.
What do you mean? Because of his last name?
He's the nephew of John F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
And the son of Robert F. Kennedy. And so who better to run and try to start a third party than him? But, he people already kind of making him look like a nut job. This is RFK's son.
Yeah.
They're making him look like a nut job already. They're making him seem like sorry for the noise outside. It's fine. Yeah, it's whatever. It's people are playing outside. But they're making him seem like some kind of nut job, like some anti-vax conspiracy theory nut job, when in reality it's like he's just questioning. Like, when was it a problem to question stuff? When did it become smart to trust big pharma?
Yeah.
You guys are constantly saying, don't trust big businesses, they're unethical, they cut corners, but you immediately jump on this vaccine because John Oliver told you to?
It's kind of interesting that
because CNN told you to? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's kind of interesting that you mentioned the last name Kennedy, because it seems like that last name always comes up when they're like, it seems like that family is always questioning the government, right?
I like where you're going with this.
Yeah, so it's
aliens.
I was gonna compare it to. I mean, I don't know if our audience is into like manga and stuff, but like in this manga called One Piece, there's like this certain family that's against the government, and they have a D in their initials, and whenever they see the government see someone with the D initials, they're like, oh, that they're part of that family. And the crazy thing about that manga, it talks about a void where people forgot about what was done, and then the world government takes over everything. So it's kind of crazy because
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but yeah, back to Kennedy,
because Kennedy, he suspected that the CIA was lying to him, allegedly.
Yeah,
and that he wanted to get rid of the CIA. He wanted to destroy.
Oh, really?
His alleged words were, "I'm going to
disband, or
I'm going to break the CIA into a million pieces and scatter them into the wind."
Oh shit.
So apparently, he found out the CIA was lying to him about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Number one, I think the Cuba stuff, the CIA tried to get him to go into war with Cuba. He didn't want to. And I think he found out they were kind of supposedly trying to like lying to him.
Yeah.
And that's when he was like, yo, I'm gonna destroy the CIA and just get rid of it. And so obviously
Yeah, so there's, I guess, conspiracies of that's the reason why he.
Yeah, but not just that, but the whole alien thing. Again, we keep talking about UFO, UAPs. I'm getting kind
Yeah.
of fed up with the mainstream media's take on the UFO things.
Yeah.
Like, oh, somebody said they saw it. Like, bro, you guys are running more somebody said than the History Channel with ancient aliens. Show us the UFOs, show us the aliens, or shut up. Let
Yeah.
this go back into the conspiracy circles where it belongs, because you guys are not helping. You guys are not doing the social media, the mainstream media is doing,
Legacy media.
the legacy media is doing what the History Channel was doing in 2002.
Yeah.
Secret, secret aircraft have been, or secret aircraft debris have been, discovered and retrieved. Could this be aliens? We don't know. What's the point of that
Yeah. I
story?
think
To
they're
let
just
us,
looking for something to talk about at this point
nah, man, nah, they're in on it.
for the views.
They're in on it. So let me tell you what's going on. The military-industrial complex. I will say this every single week. When people say the government is lying to us about UFOs, I'm gonna hypothesize that the government is not lying to us about UFOs. The government has been lied to by the contractors about UFOs. So the contractors are lying, some of them under perjury, under oath. The contractors are lying to Congress, right? They're telling Congress that they don't have these things, and then Congress and the government is turning around to the American people and saying, "Yeah, we don't have this." Like, no, we don't have this, and people think the government is lying, but the government is in front of the military contractors who are feeding them the information, and these military contractors, along with the CIA and along with other possible government agencies, funded by the taxpayers, but they don't answer to the taxpayers because they're so deep in the black budget stuff, black operations, that nobody even knows that they exist. It's like, hey, we're giving the money to the military, but then the military disperses that money to a whole bunch of programs or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're lying to the government.
I
They
mean,
lied to
if like you mentioned earlier, they lied to the president. So
yeah, the CIA.
Yeah.
They lied to the government under oath. They've unalived people. They've uninstalled the lives of people, okay, to keep this secret. And for what, right? Because you would think that if a military contractor invents like anti-gravity stuff, they'd want to sell it. They want to sell it to the public and stuff and make money off of it. But then it just lets you know that this is bigger than money. This is way bigger than money, and we don't know what it is. So basically, what I'm telling you is this: I think the military-industrial complex, these military contractors specifically have had this technology, have been getting funding from the government under the guise of military spending, and then have been having these breakthrough technologies and not telling us about it. And also, when they needed additional funding, what they ended up doing is they ended up working with the CIA, with some members of the CIA, to do things like in South America, sell them arms and bring back illicit substances to make money to continue to fund these projects. I also think they've gone into the trafficking of human beings to get this money.
wow, man.
This is
That's
my
deep.
hypothesis. I could be wrong, and hopefully I am, but no, man, I think this is it. And furthermore, if you really want to get into conspiracy theories, some people believe that Germany from the 1930s and 1940s, they had help from extraterrestrial beings on their technology. I think the extraterrestrials wisened up, and they were like, "Wait, we've been siding with governments this whole time, but governments can fall. Let's do something different. Let's side with private businesses within these countries that they don't have to answer to governments.
Yeah.
That they don't have to answer to governments." 1 second, guys. Yep, sorry about that. So let's side with these private industries that don't answer to governments because they're private, and the Constitution protects the people who run these things.
Yeah.
Therefore, we can keep doing all these things, and we can keep running clandestine operations, and we no longer ever have to answer to the government, and we don't even have to worry about the government having a revolution and screwing things over, and screwing things over for us. And I think the aliens have been working with places like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Raytheon, a whole bunch of other places. My opinion, my suspicion is that, and that to keep funding these operations outside of the congressional approved budget, they go on and they do these crazy things.
Do you think that at some point they're gonna have to tell the American people or the world that, hey, yeah, we have had interactions with aliens?
They're telling us that now.
Yeah, but
There's no proof.
There's no solid proof. But do you think eventually they're going to be like, hey guys, we have someone to show you, and it's like a live alien?
Who knows, man? What I do suspect, and I don't know, you know who Dr. Stephen Greer is?
No.
He actually had like last week. He had like a big 3-hour meeting. He talked about he had brought people on stage who kind of were seeing, like UFO related stuff, I guess, and they were talking about their experiences and stuff like that. Now, I don't know how true it is because there was no evidence, of course, it was just sketches. And it's like at some point somebody has to provide something, anything, like a piece of metal that floats when you throw it, that's as light as a feather, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's strong. Nobody provided anything.
I think the government or whoever's in charge of keeping, kind of like cleaning up the mess whenever there is a sighting.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're so they do their job so well where it's like they're able to not only wipe out the evidence but wipe out the people that actually saw things and just leave
Yes.
behind people that are maybe might not have a reputable, background.
The CIA is the engine for that because the CIA is the one controlling all these things. They send
Yeah.
out CIA agents to do that stuff. So, for example, I'm sure the CIA controls the media. And the only reason, and I said this before and I'll say this again, that guy, David Grush, the only reason he's talking about this is not my belief, and I can be wrong. It's not because maybe he's brave, I don't know. But in this particular case, it's not because of his bravery, and it's not because he loves America. It's because he was given permission to do that. He was given permission by these guys to do that.
Yeah.
Right? And then, and what makes him so different than anybody else who's come in the past and talked about UFOs? That the media's picking up on this now.
This is background, right?
Lou Elizondo did it a few years ago. They didn't make this big of a hubbub. Lou Elizondo, he used to work for, I think, a government agency called ATIP, Aeronautics, blah, 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 I don't know. Like, and so the thing is, what makes this guy so special now? You know what I mean? Like, why is the media all of a sudden talking about this so freely?
Yeah.
And, I mean, anybody, I hope, and I don't know why, but I hope that people are at least seeing this and being like, wait a minute, why is the media interested in all this? Why is the media not writing these guys off like whack jobs all of a sudden? Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why aren't they giving him the Bob Lazar treatment?
Yep.
And so, that's my take on that. I like talking about this stuff because I do think there's some kind of non-human agenda going on. And I think what they're doing now, I don't know if it's that they're scared that if that they lost control of stuff within the black budget stuff, and now they got to talk to Congress because they need help, or they want more money, and so if they like, oh, if we come clean and tell them about this, they'll give us more funding, right? Because I lost my train of thought. They lost funding. They're trying to get funding, but what they're trying to do now is they're trying to see, I think, number one, who's gonna be the fall man, because the amount of lies and illegal activities and physical harm that has been done to people and lying under oath, they might have even forcefully removed the president of the United States, John F. Kennedy, by lethal means.
Yeah.
The amount of all that stuff. Somebody,
Do you think it was some sort of order that came from the government?
not the government, the CIA was acting alone, and they got the orders from somebody else,
Okay.
not the U.S. government. Who was it? Who authorized that? You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
number one, they're trying to clean themselves up from that. Number two, they're trying to find the fall guy, which the fall guy's probably not even alive anymore. And number three, they're trying to, protect as much as they can before the United States government maybe does something. I don't think they're gonna do anything, to be honest, though. But
Yeah, I think what needs to happen is that there has to be such a huge event that it just can't be hidden. That's the only way. Such a huge event where there's so many people involved. So the sighting is so big that not only one city but several cities see it. At that point, you just can't hide it. At that point, you're just gonna have to admit,
well,
you know what, they exist.
that's their final. So a lot of people believe in what's called Project Bluebeam. That's their final card.
Project what?
Bluebeam.
Bluebeam.
Where they fake a possible alien invasion to get the whole world to like come together as one world government and to keep getting like, look, there's aliens, they're real, the threat is
Damn,
real.
I think that would definitely push the agenda of one world government, man.
That's what even religious people are starting to kind of suspect that, where it's like, yo, the aliens are real. Look, they're up there. We gotta protect ourselves. Let's bring a one world government. Let's give us more money to protect.
So
you guys.
everything points to that one world government.
Yeah, everything does point to that, to a one world government, and so they're gonna keep the day. Oh, we need to protect ourselves. Let's all what's more of a unifying cause than extraterrestrial quote unquote invaders? So give us more money, we'll protect you guys, blah blah. But those ships that we're gonna see in the sky that are supposedly alien invaders, those are our ships. And when I say our, I mean human beings. That they managed to reverse engineer alien technology.
So you think they're going to fool us to think that there's an actual invasion?
Yes,
when,
they fooled people into taking experimental substance.
Yeah, when in reality, what it is, it's humans collaborating. The humans at a high level collaborating with extraterrestrials.
Right. And I don't know what the extraterrestrials want. But
That's insane,
humans
bro.
are getting those humans are getting what they want, and that's another thing too. If there was a treaty that was made by humans with extraterrestrials on behalf of the United States government, and the United States government didn't know about this, that they were making treaties on behalf of the United States government, they were representing the United States government without knowledge of the taxpayer and the Congress, that that's actual treason, right?
Yeah.
You're actually making deals in the name of America without the authorization of America.
Damn, it makes me wonder how many times that's happened,
A
man.
lot of times, bro. A lot of
Wow.
times. But like I said, man, you guys let us know your thoughts. Jay, you got anything else to say?
No, no, that's basically it. I'm just, what's that word? Flabbergasted. I just,
Check out the college kid.
I can't like. I'm just astonished, bro. Like, wow. Like, it makes me wonder how many like they lied to us about the whole bug thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically controlling what we see in the media,
Yeah.
and then we have a whole bunch of whistleblowers coming out, and like no one believes them. So it's like at this point, like what do we do? You know what I mean? Those that know the truth and those that want to know the truth at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's people. It was gonna bother me that there are people who were like, "Oh, aliens don't exist," ha ha ha, and they're gonna come out once they do show them. They're gonna come out and be like, "Well, of course they exist. I mean, it's obvious." And it's gonna be a lot of that.
No, it sounds like the whole bug thing situation. I knew it wasn't a big deal, man.
Yeah, and people are like, "Well, we don't know what would have happened if we didn't lock down because we don't have no." Neil deGrasse Tyson said this like that we don't know what would have happened if we didn't lock down because we don't have evidence of that. And then Bill Maher actually told him like Sweden didn't lock down.
Yeah.
Are they dropping like flies in Sweden? They're not.
Oh.
Whatever, man. There's always an agenda being pushed. That's why I don't trust none of these people. I don't trust nobody. They're saying now that obesity is the result of genetics and not diet and exercise. Please, man. And then it's so disingenuous. They'll be like, "Whoa, look at the mom and the dad. If the mom and the dad is obese, then the chances are the kid's gonna be obese." 'Cause you can only explain that with genetics. No, you can explain that with the fact that the mom and the dad don't even do exercise themselves. So
Yeah.
of course, you know what I mean? Like,
It's
come
insane.
on, man. But like I said, I don't trust no media organization now. I somewhat kind of trust science, not as much anymore because statements made by scientific research have to be questioned. The funding has to be questioned. Who funded you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
ExxonMobil told you it funded you. Now you're saying that climate change is not real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's like an agenda, even in academic papers, man. You have to, like you said, you have to find out who funded this project.
Right.
It's insane.
And then after a certain point, and it sucks. You're gonna have to kind of trust anecdotal evidence a little bit because you don't have a choice. You don't know who to trust now.
Yeah.
You know, and people are like, "Oh, do you think they're really gonna conspire against you just to control you?" Yes, yes, man, yes.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, guys, you could trust us, man.
you could always trust that the
Jaycast
Jaycast podcast
podcast
brings you weekly episodes every week and some content on the side. Make sure you follow our shorts. Shout out to Nayib Bukele doing his thing.
Yeah,
and
man.
yeah, that's it for me, man.
That's it, man.
Peace.
Peace, guys.